tonight. I am with my friend Annie Stockdale with Your Total Body Wellness Center in Venice, Florida. And today I had somebody ask the question, it was a big question, what do you eat? So Annie and I were talking about this, and they said this came after I said my story, that I'd been diagnosed with MS, that I don't eat gluten, that I don't eat bread, and that I pretty much, well, she was just funny. She was like, well, then what do you eat? And I said, well, I eat lots of things. And really, for me, I always go to vegetables. I mean, because a lot of people, they'll eat all kinds of things and they'll eat all kinds of fruits. And we're going to talk about fruits in just a second. But I always go to vegetables because the one thing I feel like people are missing in their diet, if they're missing anything, it's the green vegetables.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, they probably have a lot of things in their diet that they don't need. And so I said, well, there's lots you can eat. You can eat really good salads. You can eat really good roasted vegetables. And even today I had this like migraine because I had a rib out, went to the chiropractor, and my body like wanted vegetables and it wanted healthy fats. It was the funniest thing. And I was talking to Annie about it. She goes, well, that's because your brain was like, what? And with the migraine. And it's true. My body just wanted the healthy fats. So we were just sitting here talking about foods. And I said, well, people really go to those, fruits. And then Annie's like, bing, bang, boom,
Sure.
going right to why. So what I really liked about what she said is that it's not your fault because you've eaten like this forever, right? Most people have eaten what they eat for their diet for a very long time. And your body's used to those easy sugars. That's what they want. That's what it craves. But go from there, because she was like, yeah, but you know what it's doing? And I think one of those things that we don't think about is, what is it doing?
Right.
Really, when we eat those foods, even though, yummy, and now I don't feel like, I'm deprived of anything, you know what I mean? But, and I'll share my little blueberry story in a minute, but you talk about when you eat those breads, when you eat those very sugary foods, what do?
What's happening, and it's not your fault, comes from grains, dairy, sugar. They have chemicals in them that activate receptors in your brain, like morphine receptors and cocaine receptors, right?
Yeah,
that
it's
make
super
you addicted. That's why I think I even posted something on Facebook a while ago, and it was addicted to cheese, because people, they want bread, but then they're addicted to cheese and they can't give up their sugar. That's because it's causing this chemical reaction in your brain that you start eating it and you want more. Everybody talks about gluten and grain, correct?
Yes.
So we all know we shouldn't have gluten. So what do people do? They go get gluten-free pretzels and gluten-free. It's still grains, and there's 3 other anti-nutrients in grains aside from just gluten. It's sort of like, what's going to be the popular toxin of the day that we're all finally going to learn about, and like artificial sweeteners, aspartame.
Sure.
So, but there's all these other ones too.
Right.
So everybody knows about gluten now, but that's why I tell people just no grains whatsoever. Now,
so
in her story,
yes,
she was having the migraine and whatnot, and her body was craving healthy fats.
Yes.
Because your brain is made up
of fat.
80% of it is water.
Yeah.
Okay? That's why you need to stay hydrated. That's the other thing. It's getting chillier out and up north. It's cold. Y'all are not drinking enough water.
Drink more water if you live up north.
Right. Because if you dehydrate your brain, you're not going to be able to make good decisions.
No.
So let's see what happens around the holidays. You get cold. You don't drink enough. You start being exposed to unhealthy foods. Then you can't make those good choices.
Right.
And
then
here we go is the whole big thing. It's just choices that you have to make. I don't want to hear about cheat days. I don't want to hear cheat days are just a cute little term to give you permission to eat what you know you shouldn't eat. And you're going to hide it, and then you're going to feel guilty about it later.
So
really,
if your body's actually working with you, I'm telling a story now. So I actually had some gluten. I wanted some gluten-free crackers. and I had them, and they weren't the rosemary ones, or the rosemary ones, or there's
Don't
some
look
that
at
are
me.
good.
I don't eat gluten.
So anyhow, well, they were gluten free, but I
gluten-free.
ate them with my nut butter, and you know what? They gave me a stomach ache. I was like, okay, these are not good. It was just like I was looking for something. I had this stupid migraine all weekend because the rib was out. So so I'm not perfect. I fall off the wagon, the food wagon.
There is no
But
wagon.
My
There is no wagon.
my body was telling me that's not good. So
Right.
today when I was like, I need something, my head was screaming, I need food, and I went for the roasted vegetables. I threw in some bacon, clean source,
Healthy
of course,
fats.
and then I threw in some butter, also a good source of butter,
Right.
and then my Kerrygold,
Right.
and then I threw in some nutritional yeast, and I warmed up this whole slaw in a pan and cooked it all together. It was delicious, and it was so delicious I had a second helping. And what's interesting is, of course, I wasn't craving anything later. It wasn't like this food wore off and suddenly I was back in the pantry. It was like I had energy. I was doing better. And it's amazing, what good food does for you. And I was telling Annie about the fact that at one point in time, I was told that I had an allergy sensitivity to blueberries, and I had I was eating too much spinach, which I had oxalic acid in the system, and they didn't want me to get kidney stones. So I just remember the blueberry bit, but it was like a whole armload of foods that I was eating, and they're healthy. I'm driving home from the doctor's office. I'm ready to just cry. I call my husband, and he's like, this is a joke. You're kidding, right? Because it wasn't like don't eat brownies, don't eat ice cream, don't eat pie, don't eat cookies. It was like don't eat blueberries, don't eat spinach, don't have too much kale. Make sure it's cooked, not raw. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to eat? And it was at that moment I realized that my panic over my blueberries were the same as somebody else's brownies. Because I wasn't figuring it. Yeah, it's emotional.
It was an emotional
I'm
attachment.
connected to the blueberries because they're so good for me. So, it doesn't matter what that emotional attachment is. Brownies, because I love them. They make me feel like my mom's hug or whatever it is.
Right.
Whatever the reason being that you're connected to that food, if you can't have it, suddenly you feel like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I realized at that point there's that whole emotional thing with food, which is one of the things we talked about going to those holiday parties is eating some food before you go, because as soon as you are hungry, you see those foods that you like or liked, and there's nothing else that fits in your new food palette.
Okay,
You're screwed.
Let me
because you're gonna make the bad choice.
Let me interject here.
Go ahead.
You made a comment about that you wanted brownies because they reminded you of your mother's hug or whatever. So there's a positive emotion attached to that food.
Sure.
Okay, so
go down the negative road.
All right, but here's the deal.
Reattachment.
For the holidays,
right?
If there is a food
yes.
that brings back a good memory.
Yes.
Okay?
Sniff it, don't eat it.
No, you can eat it. Okay. You can eat it.
Yay!
Right? Okay, here's my permission that over the holidays, if there's a certain food your mother used to make, your grandmother used to make, whatever, that brings back a good memory for you, I want you to eat it, and I want you to enjoy it.
Yay! But I knew this was coming.
It doesn't give you the permission to eat all this other crap that has no emotional.
It's not a brownie hug, people.
Right. It's just everything else. Yeah. It doesn't give you permission. Like there was a thing on Facebook, and I mentioned this on a live I did before, that we are turning holidays into a holiday month.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
This just gives us permission to eat whatever we want all month long. Our bodies do not know what day it is out of the year. Right?
Right.
And just because you're going to a holiday party at 6 p.m. doesn't mean, oh, what the heck, it's a holiday. I'll start off with biscuits and gravy for breakfast.
Right.
Right. And then let's have pizza for lunch.
Right.
before we go, because we're going to the holiday party later.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Why don't we have our good breakfast, our eggs, our bacon, our smoothie?
Right.
Let's have our salad for lunch, and then have a little snack before the dinner, the Christmas party. And if there is something there that's very special that you want to enjoy, or a glass of wine or an extra, enjoy it without any guilt. But don't ruin the whole day.
True.
Because it's
very
just
true.
everything that goes in here affects your health.
And your brain.
Right. You don't get a pass.
Right.
This time of year. The foods that you put in your system are going to affect your body, period, end of story. You get to make the choice. And don't make holiday excuses
for everything.
For everything to give yourself permission to eat a whole bunch of crap.
So here's what started this conversation that we're sharing. Is someone asked me today, well, what do you eat? And I think the easiest thing for me to say about food, especially if you're making a change, and this is a really tough time to make a change, but if you choose, it is.
It's only
but
tough
if you
up here.
choose, exactly, that's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
So if you choose to make that change, one of the easiest things that I did, that I share with people, is I did 2 smoothies a day. With lots of green. I did eat the greens. That's where the spinach became a problem. With lots of greens. I did spinach and kale.
There's meetings for that.
Yeah, right. Spinach and kale. And then I would throw in the antioxidant berries that I liked. Of course, organic is your best choice.
Right.
And then acai, I would throw that in there too. Throw in a little protein powder that comes from good sources. Look it up, read, make sure it works for you.
Or ask me.
And then go with that. And then I used almond milk, or you can make your own almond milk. But the point is I would do 2 smoothies a day, and then I would have a good meal with my family, and I would not eat grains. And at that point, I switched my white potatoes to sweet potatoes, and it changed my life. I mean, I was dropping weight, and I was just trying to give my body the food it needed to heal.
All right.
And that's also the food you need for your brain.
Right.
And that's also the food you need for energy.
And your heart, and your hormones, and pretty much just anything.
Take care of your bodies, take care of yourself, enjoy your holidays.
Right.
And do yourself a favor, eat some good leafy greens before you go. Find some healthy fats, and take your favorite sparkle water or kombucha with you, because sometimes you won't find it at the host or hostess's house. But enjoy it, and happy holidays from Amy Soup Circle and your Total Body Wellness Center in Venice, Florida. Me in Nokomis, Florida. Beth and Amy.
Enjoy your family and your friends.
Enjoy. Be safe.
Be safe.
Bye. Right?
Getting through the holidays.
Yeah, getting through the holidays. We keep talking about this.
We all got to start thinking about our bodies like we do our cars. Okay? You're not going to put...
You mean we put hula hoops in our bodies?
In the trunk. But what I'm saying is, you don't go put Coke in your gas tank and expect the car to run.
No, never.
You know what I
never.
mean?
Right, exactly.
Right? When the tires start getting worn, you take care of them.
So,
treat your body as if, like, if you were given one car and it had to last
that's
through
what you're using.
Right. It's the only car that you get to have your entire rest of your life is this one car. How are you going to take care of it?
Well,
guess what? This is the only body you get for this lifetime. You got to take care of it.
You do, because the shoes you're in are the shoes you have, and where you're going is where your feet are taking you. So, I know, wasn't that good, people? So anyhow, I often tell my youngest that she's genetically related to me. I do have an autoimmune disorder, and really it's something I live with, but I never really want the perfect storm to be her perfect storm.